everybody, welcome back to Rosemaling with Art of Lise. I'm Lisa. This is a channel dedicated to the Norwegian folk art of Rosemaling and my work with it. If you're new here, please take a moment to subscribe, and if you're not, well, welcome back. And look, I was actually good about saying about subscribing early. I always forget. Anyway, what I am working on today is a design in the style called Hallingdal. Hallingdal is a symmetrical design that's much more opaque than what I normally end up showing. But I thought it'd be kind of fun for me to show how I develop a pattern. So this is a lovely little Bombay box. Here we go. And the top color is Blue Haze, and the bottom is by Joe Sonia. It's Galaxy Blue, and I did the reverse on this box, same exact box. The top is Galaxy Blue, the bottom is Blue Haze, which is a ceram coat color. So what I have started to do is chalk in my lines to kind of show you how I develop a pattern. So this pattern is based on a smaller pattern that I did for a paddle that I did for a paint and sip class. I like the idea, and I wanted to see if I could expand upon it so you can kind of see the formation. The feel between the two is pretty similar. So what I'm going to do is actually draw my design on here so you can see, and perhaps we'll actually get to painting it today. All right, let me move down a little lower. So what I have here is I have my center circle here, and as you can see, I've got some lines chalked in. I know my top portions, my top leaves there are coming up about that high, so I'm just going to draw it in and just kind of wing it. I'm not worried about it being perfect. Since I already have an idea of what I'm doing here, I can just draw it in. And as I paint it, I'll end up evening out different lines. Let's get that out of the way. I hope everyone is well out there and you're staying safe. What a crazy time period we're living in. Normally, I am running around like crazy with the kids, but right now, there's nothing going on. There's nothing to run around crazy and do. I did hope to get down here earlier to do some work and to work on my video for you guys today, but I ended up outside doing some yard work that I thought, oh, I'd be out for a half hour. Well, 3 hours later. But I'm pleased with how it's coming. But of course, now I need mulch. You know, it just adds one job to the next. All right, so I'm pretty good at guesstimating where it is. Now, if you are new to developing patterns, I would definitely recommend putting a grid in like I did here. So having this grid gives you a guideline. And all I'm using is a lovely chalk pencil, which is, let's see, I have this so sharpened down that I can't even tell. So I'll bring it up close so you guys can see it. All right, so I chalked it in, and literally it will come right off, which is nice because a lot of times when you're using graphite paper and stuff, it's much harder to get it off. So I am just drawing it in, and I'm using this as my guide. I'm not worried if it's not exactly the same, because, you know, just like in life, none of us are exactly the same. So why should painting be exactly the same? See, and I can literally just lick my finger and wipe things off. Obviously, in today's time period, that's not really a good thing to do, but seeing it's just me in here, and by the time this goes anywhere, any germs will be gone. So boy, how hard is it for everybody to refrain from, like, touching your face, touching your lips? Oh, so difficult. When I went to the grocery store the other day to go get a plastic bag to put the bananas in, you know, it's hard to separate that plastic. So you have to sit there and work at it so you don't actually lick your fingers. Oh, I am not doing good with that. Let's try that again. Whoop. Oh, that's just an ugly. Let's wipe that out. Let's go this way. Well, that's a little better. So notice all my lines are coming into my sepal here. Everything is just coming into this and building off of that. All right, so I have nice little lines there, nice little lines there. I'm going to put another sepal here, another sepal here, because I'm going to have my flowers building off of that. So I just kind of have these little petal flowers here. Just going to draw them in. Now, and I'm not worried about putting every little stroke in right now, because I can add that as I go. And I'm not sweating it being absolutely perfect, because in your mind's eye it will look pretty darn close. You know what? I think I'm at the point. I'm just going to dive in and paint. I think I'm going to keep basically the same color scheme that I had here. So yellows and reds. I can't really do the dark blues because obviously this is a dark blue, so that won't work too well. So I did write down my colors that I was using for this, and this is all Joe Sonia paints. But obviously I have Prussian blue and burnt sienna. That's kind of 1-to-1. I think what I'm going to do is change that to aqua for this one here. So let's put aqua on that. Okay. So that's my basic colors. All right. Let's put this off to the side here. All right. So I have my palette all set up. So here's my Prussian blue, burnt sienna. Here's my aqua. I have red earth, Norwegian orange, vermilion, raw sienna, Turner's yellow, and yellow oxide. And what did I put there? I'll look and double check. And then I have my warm white. I will need carbon black, which I didn't put down here, for when I do my detail work. All right. So let's go over here. I have lots and lots and ready, wait. Lots of brushes. Okay, let's come back. All right, let's see if I can get that right spot. Yes, I can. All right, let's see what I have. Which one was I looking for? Okay, I'm using today, this is a number 4 Joe Sonia Sure Touch 1350. It's a round. I prefer rounds. That's just me. People like all sorts. They like flats. I just happen to like rounds. All right, so I am going to use a medium a little bit, but you know, Hallingdal being a flat pattern, flat design, I really don't need to add anything to my paints. I may use a little bit of water, which I do have my water here, but I'm really not going to use much of anything in it. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to tip a little bit into my water just so my brush is a little damp, and I always use raw sienna for my yellows as my base. Now, acrylic paint dries darker than when it first is applied, and as you can see, this is very transparent on this, and obviously I don't want this style to be transparent. I want it to be opaque, so I'm going to have to build up on it. So we're just going to fill in my lines here. Now, I'm always talking about C strokes and S strokes, and those strokes are still in here. If you notice, they're just shorter. There's an S right there, right? And there's a C. So let's add some more paint in. We'll just come around. So let's do this. Now, I have mentioned that I'm working on patterns. I actually was working on them this morning. I'm trying to get it so that I'll have 5 or 6 available by Monday on my Etsy site, if not before then. I will put that on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. If you'd like to follow me at Art of Lise, Lise, on Facebook or on Instagram, that would be wonderful. All right, let's see. So as you can see, I'm working my way around. And I like the yellow on this background. So we're just going to give a nice base. And really, the only reason I put some water in my brush was just to wet it, since it had been clean and it was dry. But I really don't want much in there because I just want to get my color based in. Okay, I have a paper towel here. I don't need this here anymore. Put that to the side. All right. Let's see if I can move this over so you can see the whole process here. All right. Put this up there. All right, let's see here. So let's come around a second time here. Here's again, I'm using raw sienna. Now I can't, oh, see, I'm going a little too soon because it's pulling the paint up underneath. So we're just going to let that dry. And in the meantime, let's put our first coat down of the red. So I'm using the same brush. All I did was wipe some of the yellow out. I'm going into my red earth. And I'm going to come over here and do this C stroke here. And pull it in between. Let's see if you can see that. Let's do that one again. Make sure you can see it. All right, when you're your own videographer, sometimes you have to double check to make sure you can see what's going on. One of these days, maybe I'll have my kids help me out and video for me. All right, there we go. That's pretty. Let's put that up there. Let's go around to the other side. Now, I'm not worried if it's not perfectly symmetrical. I want it as close as possible. Let's come to this side here. I'm pushing my brush down and then I'm pulling it up. Just like what I've talked about with that airplane. You push down, you pull up. Let me show that again so you guys who haven't been here before. So you're really using this same brush for getting so many different techniques. So here I'm pushing my brush. Look how much I can push that brush down and get this nice fat part of the C stroke. And then I'm not turning the brush much, but because I'm pulling up on the brush and bringing it to a point, I can get this nice flow here. Let me do that again. So I'm pushing down on my brush. I'm pulling it ever so slightly to the right. I'm taking the pressure off the brush, bringing it to a point, and the plane takes off. I can do that in the opposite direction. Push it down, turn it ever so slightly, start taking your pressure off your brush, and look at that nice fine line. All right, one more time. Push. Whoop. Helps if I hold my paper down. Push and pull it up, and the airplane takes off. All right. So I've got the basis down here. I'm going to come up to this portion here. I'm going to continue with the red because I like how that looks. So, and can you start to see how much darker that yellow is when it starts to dry? All right, let's get this stroke in here with the red, and it's really a long S stroke here. So I'm pushing it down, I'm lifting ever so slightly on the brush and letting it curve right into that sepal. I'm going to do in the opposite direction. When I load my brush, by the way, I twist and turn my brush in there so I still have that nice point. I don't do this because it's too flat. I don't like that. So I do this. All right, let's come to this side. Ready? I'm going to push my brush down and like that airplane taking off, and then I'm going to come right in. Do you notice how the chalk is just disappearing into the paint? That's one of the things, we can't talk today. It's one of the reasons why I love working with the chalk pencils, because it literally just disappears and I don't have to really wipe off lines or erase lines. Let's come to the other side. Here's that S stroke. I'm going to come in right in between. Let's come the opposite direction. I'm pushing down. I'm pulling up and coming right in between. Now my paint